Welcome to what was a very puzzling market today. What's the puzzle? FIIs turned buyers, DIIs turned sellers. 1,650 crores FIIs bought, DIIs sold 600 odd crores. First puzzle. Second, despite FII buying, the sectors which are heavy in the large cap space, for example, large cap index was negative. And within the large cap, IT was negative, private banks was flat, PSU bank was negative, FMCG was negative. So very, very puzzling number that these are the normal sectors that FIIs would prefer, and despite that, the large cap was negative. DIIs, why did they turn negative? Well, we know that there's a correlation that has been building, saying when FIIs sell very heavily, DIIs buy very heavily, and when they don't sell so much, DIIs reduce their buying. But today, it's actually flipped the template. The FIIs became buyers and DIIs net sellers. And the only reason I can think of from a DII perspective is that they are conserving the cash, waiting for further clarity around the earnings season. Now, why did FIIs numbers show positive? Well, there could be a number of theories around this because, like I said, if it was really buying, there should have been a lot more of the bank, IT, FMCG, and all should have been positive. So I tried to do some kind of a brief analysis, and what I came up with, and I'll verify this later in the night when the detailed derivatives data comes, and you can see my write-up maybe tomorrow morning when I write it. But the thing is that it could be a function of short covering in Nifty derivatives because today was a Nifty options weekly expiry date, Tuesday. Okay, so that covering plus the fact that very often the hedge funds, when they adjust their books as a short volatility strategies, like straddles or strangles, they expire worthless, which means that any forced cash selling, it gets reduced. So the figure that we see is a net buying minus selling, right? So maybe the positive was because the selling came down. That's one thing to be clarified. Third thing could be the fact that today was the listing of the SBI mutual fund NFO, IPO, sorry, not NFO. And there could be some kind of listing day purchases made by some of the institutional foreign institutions who probably didn't get enough of what they wanted, and by and large that listing was positive. Today SBI funds listed with a 6% premium, closed the day with a 6% premium to the offer price, right? So these could be the various reasons, because that explains why the broader market wasn't really great. Even the best performing sector was realty was up only 1%, and if you look at it today, there's the hand of Nifty in actually supporting the broader market. So while I mentioned that the large cap index was down not much, but 21 basis points, mid cap was up 30 basis points, small cap was up 53 basis points, micro cap was up 34 basis points. So almost the mirror image of yesterday, not a replica of yesterday's market, where we saw the same kind of a behavior, that is the broader market outperforming the large caps, which means the non-institutional domestic investors today stepped in and bought across the whole range. So what were the positive sectors today? Realty was 1%, auto almost 1%, defense about 75 basis points, metal 63, manufacturing 47. So clearly these are all sectors which dominate the mid, small and micro cap space. So I think non-institutional domestic investors have propped up the market today through buying. The realty was because a couple of the realty names showed some strong order books today in terms of new flat sales. The auto index was high because I think today both Bajaj Auto and TVS Motors reported very strong growth and profits. So I think that was maybe a trigger for that. Apart from which, Bandhan Bank reporting a good result, but still you saw the private bank index was flat. And PSU Bank index, there wasn't any result related, but today PSU Bank index was negative due to some profit booking, which I suspect was again a DII play, right? So overall then, what you can sense here from today's market is that DIs are continuing to be cautious and waiting for any strong FI selling to go and buy something cheaper. Otherwise, they're still waiting for the earnings season to play out. And so for the rest of the week, I would say this should be very similar. Tomorrow's FII number will be important because there's no expiry, and so whether it's genuine buying or not, we'll get a validation tomorrow. Until then, fingers crossed on this. I also like to, I spoke about the SBI NFO IPO today. I spoke about TVS Motors and Bandhan Bank results. What else was of action today, right? Adani Energy Solutions again reported very strong doubling of their net profit, YOY. And Paytm also reported a very strong profit growth of almost 200 crores, more than 200 crores. But the stock didn't react well today because of concerns around some long-term payment take rates or whatever. Again, another stock where the earnings was good but the market didn't respect was Rallis India, which though they showed a 30% jump in their profits, the market is still looking, let's say, monsoon is delayed, so Rallis being mainly agriculture related chemical sales, they have kind of punished it. Other than that, what about non-stock market news? I wanted to point out a couple. First is Maruti Suzuki, buoyed by the fact that auto sales have been by and large good, and the fact that they have absorbed a lot of the crude related input costs into their margins so far, have decided to increase automobile car prices by up to 30,000 rupees from August. So that's good because they're finally saying, okay, demand is strong enough, I can raise prices a little and without sacrificing sales. So it's probably positive for the auto sector that they are now trying to pass on some costs. Other news, well, the crude impact was seen in terms of the fact that Trump again attacked, 10th day of attacking Iran counter-attacking into Kuwait. So Brent crude went up to $90, but I'm not sure that it really impacted much because as you saw, the broader markets were up today and the energy index was also up today. So the crude 88 to 90, market has not really reacted strongly, though there has been a significant escalation in terms of the strikes there, right? What else did I want to speak about? I want to speak about a sudden new threat which has come up. Right now it's not applicable to India, could in the future. Mr. Trump has imposed 50% tariff on Canada under a Section 338, which was introduced as a law in 1930 and never been used. He has used it today against Canada. And 1 month from today, when he signed the order today, 1 month today, it comes 50% tariff on Canada. And what is this Section 338? It says that any nation which imposes unreasonable or unequal charges or quotas or restriction of American exports, then that disadvantages US businesses, right? And place a American goods at a competitive disadvantage, then Section 338 can be used, claiming discriminatory and retaliatory treatment by Canada. And they have specifically mentioned that in 3 areas: motor vehicles, alcoholic beverages, and dairy products. Canada is doing that, so they have slapped this across. And there is a US-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. This act overrules that act. So what it says is even those which are exempt under that existing trade agreement, they are doing. So shows you the extent to which Mr. Trump can go and digging out all laws. He's got a separate department probably looking at it, and he's now used that. Now, is that something which can bring to any sector on India? I don't know. We just have to see. Basic thing is that if there is unreasonable or unequal charges or quotas or restriction on American exports. If you simply look at it like that, it could apply to a whole range of Indian exports. So let's wait and see whether this really translates into anything negative for India. But with that, let me wrap up the day today. The macro, otherwise, in terms of the US interest rates or the Indian interest rates, the currency, all marginal movements, nothing great to shake the markets. Look forward to my detailed write-up, which I will publish tomorrow morning in my YouTube post or a Facebook post, right, where I will get more clarity on some of these items. Thank you.